Right, welcome back to Ask Uncle Lee. And you'll have to excuse the gardeners are in the garden doing their thing. I've got my hat on though, so we're all good. Okay, so let's get into the questions. Welcome to my channel. You are entering the world of magic and mysticism with your host, Lee W. Johnson. Keep the lights on and help improve the channel by becoming a supporter for just $2.99 per month. Hit the join button. Okay, questions. First one is from @SeraphStar. I have had several gods reach out to me for sexual energy exchange. Prior to this, I've never had experienced anything like it before. It's happening more often now. Other witches have said that my experiences are impossible and invalidated them. I don't know why. I do know that it is possible because I've had experienced this with Zeus, Lord Pan, and Satan. What is your take on sexual energy exchange with deities, and what's the purpose of it? Okay, I definitely wouldn't invalidate it. It happens. There's a lot of people who even go a bit further and do god spousing. So it's not just sexual exchange or like sexual energy exchange, but also actually getting married to them. And in terms of Zeus and Lord Pan, not so much Satan, but I can see it coming into play, but definitely Zeus and Lord Pan. They are quite sexual entities, especially Zeus. If you read all the myths and stories about Zeus, he got around. Anyway, so yeah, what is my take on sexual energy exchange with deities? Cannot talk today. Absolutely, perfectly valid. When it comes to making offerings to different spirits like different things. Some will go for the food, and some will like the coffee or tea or something like that. Others will like alcoholic beverages, rum, whiskey, brandy and things like that. Some spirits will like honey, milk, etc., etc., etc. And specifically in demonology, there's a large emphasis on blood offerings, but a lot of spirits like sexual exchange. It's not really about the sexual fluids, although the sexual fluids can add to the energy, but it is quite largely of regarding the actual the energy which is generated. And I mean, if you go into Western sex magic, you're going to find this a lot. And it has to do largely with the energy which is created and generated during the sexual experience. And if you do edging, or carezza as it once was called, slightly different though. But if you do practice edging, you're going to bring yourself to the edge, pull back, and then start all over again, and you're going to keep building more and more and more and more energy on top of previous energy building, and you get to the point where you then release, and you release that energy and you project it to a spirit, deity, and they consume that energy. You're going to also find lots of interesting tales, myths, stories about spirits such as Lilith, who will take that energy, and it's usually regarding succubi and incubi, in relation to taking sexual night emissions, especially from men, and producing demons from those emissions. I'm not really a big follower of that idea, but it's interesting to look at these different ideas and myths regarding these things. I will say that what you might find more from a masculine perspective, I suppose, is that the sexual emissions that are created through masturbation and things like that um, can create thought forms. And a lot of people will say that, therefore, when you are masturbating, you should focus on something specific. Don't just think randomly or about nothing. You should actually have something in mind when you're masturbating. So when you release that energy has somewhere to go. But that's getting off the topic of actual sexual exchange with deities themselves. So it really is about um, the energy that is created, and it's the spirits can feed on that energy, and you can generate a lot of energy through sex, um, whether it's with a partners, group, or whether it's solo through masturbation. There's a lot of energy you can create, and then you give it as an offering to the deity. That is the purpose, I would say, is in regards to that. Yeah, I think that answers that question. Give me a shout if you need more. But we'll go on to the next one now. Okay, from RCBM. Hi Lee, what do you recommend if for a period of time someone wants to give daily offerings to multiple demons, in brackets 7 to 8? I was thinking to write their names on a piece of paper and then a drop of blood on each of the names, then burn it. Or what is the best option in a situation like this? Also, when doing this way, do the demons know about your offering without calling each one of them until you feel them there, as that would take a while? Thank you. If you are... Okay, first of all, you need to create a relationship with each one individually. Then make sure that they all work together nicely, and they don't have fights and they don't have petty arguments and things like that. If they all work together nicely and you can create a nice union, a nice family, like good family bond, then represent them somehow on an altar. Then when you want to do an offering to all of them, they're already there. You've created this bond, you're continuously working with them, so you don't have to call each one individually. And when I do my morning prayers, I kind of just say morning to each of the spirits that I work with individually, and then I do one offering, and that's I light a candle, I light some incense, and I give them a bowl of water, and that gets changed every day. So it's fresh water every day, and water's a great offering. Water, sustains life. It keeps us alive. It keeps plants alive. It keeps everything alive, and water is a great conductor of energy, and therefore it holds intention very well, so it can be passed on. So, just a bowl of water, given to all of them. But you do have to create that relationship with them, create a bond with them each individually. And if they don't get along, if one of them doesn't get along with the rest of them, or two of them don't get along with the rest of them, you're going to have to separate them onto different altars. But if they all get along, then, just put them all on one altar. And you'll know if they don't get along, there'll be things happening, things breaking. You'll feel it. Whenever you approach the altar, you may feel something negative because they're having a bit of a fight. And just because they're spirits don't mean they don't fight amongst each other. They're going to. So that's really it. 1, create a relationship with each of them individually. 2, put them all on the same altar, make sure they don't fight. And 3, give them an offering of water and candle and incense. And do that constantly, continuously, on a constant basis, daily. I would make it daily, definitely daily. Of course, sorry, just thinking about this. You did say a period of time. So if you are working with the spirits and it's not a continuous thing, throughout your entire lifetime or for years and years to come, it may just be for a month you're doing a specific working. I was going to say I don't know why you would be working with 7 to 8 demons for a particular working. You can just work with one in that case. But, it depends on what you're doing. So, again, I would actually say do exactly the same thing. Create a relationship with each one individually. Have them all in the same spot. You can even make a spirit box. I'm doing that with the Egregore project. I've got a box, which is a spirit box, and all offerings go into the box. Trinkets, items, coins, what have you, go into the box as offerings, energy exchange. Coming back to that term. But the sigils of all of the egregores are being put into the box, drawn on the box. So, we talk about spirit boxes or spirit pots being specifically for one spirit. If they work together well, then you can include more than one spirit within that spirit pot or spirit box. So that's a good way to work with them. But again, you've got to create a relationship with them individually. It's no good just calling them all together and going, "Hi guys, let's have a party." You don't know them yet, and you need to get to know each one of them before you start working with them properly. Okay, so anyway, hope that answers that. Hope I got to the nitty gritty of it. Okay, let's do one more. This is from Beard of Doom 8174. I had previously asked a question about marvelous and hidden knowledge. Who is the best demon to interact with in terms of learning and gaining knowledge? To learn obscure and esoteric knowledge. Also, is there any protocol... I've got an itch on my head now, I can't scratch it. Is there any protocol one should follow when reaching out to these entities? Any off-limits or that you wouldn't recommend asking? How is such information received? I find the subject very interesting and I'm genuinely curious about this. With gratitude and thank you. Be well. Okay. Lots in there. Okay. Who is the best demon to interact with in terms of learning and gaining knowledge? To learn obscure and esoteric knowledge. Any of them. Really, they're spirits. They have access to all of this knowledge. However, you might want to actually go in a slightly different direction. Within Hebrew or Kabbalistic understanding, we have 3 main parts of the soul. There's also the body, and there's also the Chia, which is a bit higher. But if we look at the 3 main parts, the lower, middle, and upper soul parts, it's the Nefesh, the Ruach, and the Neshama. If we have a look at the Nefesh, the lower soul part, the Nefesh has access to all knowledge, everything, past, present, future, because there is no past, present, future. Think of the eternal now, but of everything, not just knowledge that you've had access to, but everybody in history and in the future have had and will have access to. So the Nefesh is probably a very good entity to go and talk to, and it's part of yourself. It's part of your own soul, so it's a very strong connection. You can create a relationship with your lower self. At the same time, we can have a look at the Holy Guardian Angel, the personal daimon, whatever title we want to give that. This is more in connection with your, or following your own true will. But it's your higher self. It has access to everything, to all knowledge. So in that regards, I would actually go for your own soul, rather than an external entity, a demon or a deity or something like that. But I mean, if you want to have a look at external deities, all of them, they're spirits. They live it, so they have access to that knowledge. In my understanding, anyway. One specific one, Lucifer. Lucifer is the light bringer, the bringer of gnosis, the bringer of knowledge. So, you know, Lucifer would probably be the best one there. Is there any protocol one should follow when reaching out to these entities? Any off limits, or that you wouldn't recommend asking? No. Any protocol? Be respectful. That really is the only thing, is be respectful, understand that these entities are ancient beings, and don't take the approach of the ceremonialist or the Solomonic magician who is trapping, binding, forcing, threatening, and things like that. Just be respectful, and if you are respectful, you're going to get respect back. If you are harmful, you're going to get harm back. Really that simple. So, you know, logic dictates, be respectful, you will be respected. Okay. Any off limits, or that you wouldn't recommend asking? No. If you want answers to something, ask away. You're going to make mistakes. Don't get me wrong there. You're going to make mistakes, and this is not for everybody. But if you've got questions, ask them. If it's something you're not allowed to know now, you'll be told. Wait, be patient. But otherwise, you know, ask away. How is such information received? Depends on you, depends on your abilities, depends on the situation, depends on the spirit you're talking to. You know, quite often it comes in dreams. It can come in repeated phrases, maybe, that, you know, you keep hearing people say, or you keep seeing on social media, that repetition. There's that message trying to get through. So it can be direct. You can sit down with the spirit and get a direct communication, and quite often that's telepathically, and that can be in a manner in which it could be verbal. You could hear it. It could be in thoughts or feelings. It could be imagery. There's a whole lot of ways that things can be communicated, and it all depends on the situation, you yourself and your own abilities, and the spirit and how they feel they want to communicate at that particular time. Yes, and that's that. Okay, so I think that answers that question. And that's it for this week, and I'll see you next week for more. Cheers for now. Bye bye.